That's right, we're back, but the NFL season is over. It's behind us now, and now we're on to something new, something different. We're on to the fastest podcast in motorsports with me, John, where we're going to talk about everything related to the upcoming NASCAR season, and it starts right now. Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John. This is Introverse Uncharted. I'm glad that you guys have all found your way right back here to the hub, the Uncharted hub, and I am more than happy to be here and more than happy to be back behind the microphone, in front of the camera, and getting ready to get down to business. Now, again, it's been a minute since I've been on the channel. I posted a little bit ago that we're gonna have some fun and new things upcoming on the channel, and I look forward to all of those opportunities coming up. But here we are, right? Excuse me. We're right back here. The NFL season is behind us. We did a lot of NFL coverage last year, but that doesn't mean that the sports world just goes quiet, and we're going to still be talking sports. WWE has Elimination Chamber coming up a week from today. Chances are I'll be doing either some sort of live stream or at least some sort of live commenting through the event in the form of shorts or something along those lines. But I will figure that out early into next week. However, tomorrow starts a whole nother sporting event. And it's a sporting event that I feel is viciously underrated depending on where you live more than anything. Where you live and kind of how you were. I'm not going to say how you were raised, but it's definitely probably a contributing factor. Tomorrow is the Daytona 500. It is the Super Bowl of motorsports. It is NASCAR's biggest event of the year. They start with the big one, they don't end with the big one. So, we are going to talk all things NASCAR today. It's time to switch hats. We got to get out of the football hat, get into the NASCAR hat, and talk about NASCAR today. Again, the Daytona 500 is tomorrow. 500 miles around Daytona International Speedway, 2.5 miles a lap, essentially. It's going to be an absolute barn burner. It's always full of excitement, full of adrenaline, tons of good stuff going on, and I'm sure there'll be quality crashes if you're just into the sport for that. But altogether, just another really fun sport to watch. And now, I'm going to start the NASCAR segment with this, okay? Because I can already feel it. I can feel the tingles in all your loins that you want to say something, you want to chirp about NASCAR, okay? Let's talk about it just real quick. I'm not going to dwell on it very long. I don't want to run all day and give you all of my opinions on this matter, but we're going to talk about it real quick. Okay. Listen. NASCAR gets a lot of hate nowadays, okay? For a multitude of reasons. If you've been a longtime fan of the sport, people think that the sport has gotten soft. They've obviously broken up the races with stages, so they're not running just like straight 3.5 hour sprints, essentially. Uh, Sponsorship deals are weird and different nowadays. But more so than anything, if you don't watch NASCAR, just go to the NASCAR Facebook page and like go to a driver getting a new sponsor or a new rule being enacted, and just go to the comments and look at the comments, okay? So, especially when it comes to sponsorships and such, NASCAR fans have tried divisively to bring politics into motorsports, as NASCAR has in the past been very typically a red activity, if you will. Southern states dwell in the NASCAR season. I don't give a rat's ass about your politics. Not at all. So if you're going to come in here, you're going to come into this space and you're going to go into my comments and you're going to drop political comments about Bud Light sponsoring Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I don't know. Bush Light sponsoring Ross Chastain, and what a travesty that is, and that the liberals are taking over and making NASCAR a sissy sport. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Okay? I don't give a crap at all. Your political affiliation means nothing to my ability to watch cars go around a circle to the left for 200 laps at 200 miles an hour for 3.5 hours of my Sunday. It makes no difference to me who you voted for. I watch the sport because I like watching the sport. It is not a political activity for me. That's the disclaimer on this. If you want to talk politics, there are people to do that with. It will not be me, and it will not be here. That's the Uncharted promise. We don't talk politics right here on Uncharted. So, now that we got that bullshit out of the way, let's talk the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of Motorsports, the biggest event of the NASCAR season. I'm pumped too. I'm absolutely excited about the Daytona 500. It's one of my favorite races of the year. I love Daytona, Florida. Like, it's just one of my favorite places. I've vacationed there before. Daytona is beautiful. I've never been to the raceway. I got to go to the raceway though. My brother has seen a 500 in person. Jealous as all hell about that. But let's talk about tomorrow's Daytona 500. Okay, um, let's go to the starting grid. Okay. Sorry, there's probably a little bit of a glitch there. Apparently, when you minimize the record screen, it just stops recording. Who would have thought? Um, let's go to the starting grid for the Daytona 500 this year. Leading the field to the green will be Joey Logano. Joey has a tendency in that 22 Penske Ford to ride near the front, generally for a decent amount of the Daytona 500, but altogether, he rides near the front all the time. Joey's not one of my favorites, but you can't deny that he has a winning mentality and that he rides up near the front at all times. He's going to lead the field to green side by side with Michael McDowell in the front row motorsports. Number 34, he rides normally the Love's car. I actually really like that paint scheme. I love Love's truck stops. I don't know. It's like those little facts about me in case you didn't know. So top 10, let's go through the top 10. I'm not going to dwell into each and every driver that sits in it, but we're just going to talk about who is in the top 10 right now. We got Joey Logano, Michael McDowell. Third place is going to go Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell in 4, Chase Elliott in 5, Austin Cindric in 6, Alex Bowman in 7, Denny Hamlin 8, Carson Hocevar in 9, and John Hunter Nemechek in 10. That's going to be your top 10 starting grid. Let's go 11 through 20. 11 is going to be Eric Jones, 12 Harrison Burton. Sorry, my bad. Let's go 13 Daniel Suarez, 14 Zane Smith, 15 Ty Gibbs, 16 Brad Keselowski, 17 Kyle Larson, 18 William Byron, 19 Chris Buescher, and rounding out the top 20 is going to be Chase Briscoe. 21 through 30. 21 is going to be Ross Chastain. 22, Justin Haley. 23, seven-time Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson. 24, Bubba Wallace. 25, Ryan Preece. 26, Kaz Grala. 27, Martin Truex Jr. 28, AJ Allmendinger. 29, Corey LaJoy. And 30, Josh Berry. That rounds out the top 30. Let's go 31 through 41, 41 being the last car in the field. 31 goes to Todd Gilliland, 32 Ryan Blaney, 33 Austin Dillon, 34 Kyle Busch, 35 Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 36 Riley Herbst, 37 Daniel Hemrick, 38 Noah Gragson, 39 Anthony Alfredo, 40 David Reagan, 40. It also says 40. I don't know why they have it marked twice. So there's 42 cars in the field. 40 will go to BJ McLeod, and 41 will go to JJ Yaley. That is every name of every driver in the starting field for the Daytona 500. Now we're going to get down to the meat and bones of the show, which is going to be doing predictions. That's what we do. We like to have a good time. We like to talk predictions. We like to do it, and we're going to do some different stuff. I am going to introduce a new thing on this show. We're going to kind of randomize a little bit of our decision making on this show a little bit more, but we're going to have a good time doing it. Let's start with who I think is going to win the Daytona 500 this season. This is going to be my personal pick, okay? You're going to think automatically that I'm going to pick the 3-car of Austin Dillon. Now, I told you, Austin Dillon is starting down in 33rd. He has won a Daytona 500 in 2018. I think he only has 4 Cup Series wins since being called up by Richard Childress Racing, and in the 3-car nonetheless, the legendary 3 driven by Dale Earnhardt for all so many years. Austin Dillon is not always a very great representative, in my opinion, of the 3-car, at least in the winning ways of the 3-car. I obviously want Austin Dillon to win. He's my driver. I sided with Austin Dillon in the 3-car after Tony Stewart retired. I was always a long-time Tony Stewart fan. When it came time for picking other drivers and such, the 3-car had just been fielded again, and I was like, let's go to the most reliable number in motorsports, and it has flopped hard. Check out Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s podcast as well if you want to hear his opinions on the 3-car and the success / lack of success of the 3-car. But like I said, you're going to think I'm going to go with the 3-car. I'm actually not going to go with the 3-car. I'm going to go with Austin Dillon's former teammate. I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick to win the Daytona 500 this year in the 2311 45 car. It's a lot of numbers I just named off, but 2311 is the name of the team, 23XI. It's owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. I think that Tyler Reddick is going to win this race. Tyler Reddick has an undeniable ability to force his way to the front, making very little friends generally at the time, but it's not about making friends, it's about winning races, and Tyler Reddick has the ability to do that. Tyler Reddick is going to come to the green flag on the first lap in the 3rd position. I look to see him up there all day. I think Tyler Reddick is going to have an amazing day, always has a fast car, and that Toyota is going to look absolutely ridiculous. I am fairly certain of it. Let's go to another piece of this puzzle, though. We're going to do a new segment right here, right now. I'm excited. I'm pumped about it. It's in the same ballpark, though. So I just picked my winner for the Daytona 500, my personal pick, Tyler Reddick. Well, we are going to go to the Wheel of Truth. I have a randomized wheel on my phone. We are going to pick another driver to win the Daytona 500 based on this wheel. Now, this wheel will give me the opportunity to have a 2 out of 40 shot of getting the correct Daytona 500 winner, or the correct race winner, because we're going to do this every single week. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's see if we can get this. It's not probably going to focus in very well, but we're going to do it. We're going to hit the spinny spin right cha. Here it goes. Spinny, spinny, spinny. Here we go. Who's it going to pick? Who's it going to pick? It picks Ricky Stenhouse Jr., coincidentally, my wife's favorite driver. Let's see if I can get it just, there you go, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. right there. So, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going on the pad. I'm going to write that one down. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to win the Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. does have a Daytona 500 win, and if I'm not mistaken, it might be last year, and if not last year, the year prior. So Ricky Stenhouse has had recent success at Daytona. Now, on to the next thing that we're going to chat about. Which car manufacturer is going to have the most cars in the top 10 through all 3 stages? We're going to break it down by stage. Real quick, though, I want this to be very clear, because this is another one of those things that you see on like NASCAR social media. Okay, there isn't very much of a difference between Ford, Chevy, and Toyota in NASCAR. Okay, it's a sticker that is put on the front of a car. The body styles are a little different now. They have a little bit more freedom, but they all have to meet the NASCAR specifications, if you will. So there is not that much difference in the make and model of the vehicle, aside from the sticker being put on the stock car. Stock car means all those cars have to be the exact same car in order to participate in the race. They are allowed to make adjustments to certain parts of the car, but the meat and bones of the vehicles have to be exactly the same, hence stock car. Okay, so before I get everybody crazy in this thing that like Chevy is the greatest make and model of all time, they're all it's NASCAR. They're all the same car. This is all strictly for which sticker is gonna be more so in the top 10 at the end of each stage. Let's go through my breakdown. So, leading the field to green in the top 10 is 3 Fords, 4 Toyotas, and 2 Chevys. 3 Chevys, my bad. So, I'm going to say that we're going to get some consistency through the first stage. The first stage is not, people aren't going to go absolutely nuts in the first stage unless weather is going to be a factor, but weather doesn't generally play a factor until about the halfway point of the race. Because anything after the halfway point of the race, if it rains out, the race is over. They call it. Anything before, they're going to try to postpone and try again the following day or whenever they possibly can get it in. Stage 1, I think, is going to go to Toyota. Toyota has 4 cars in the top 10 just to start the race. I think there's going to be some consistency out of Toyota in that first stage. I think Toyota is going to hold through the first stage. Now, I picked the exact same make for 2 and 3. I just think again, it's not about the actual physical make and model of the car. What it is about is the drivers themselves. I'm going to say that Ford is going to sweep stage 2 and 3, having more cars in the top 10 than any other make. So, Toyota in stage 1, Ford to close out stage 2 and stage 3 with the most cars in the top 10 brandishing Ford and Toyota, essentially. That's how I'm playing this game. Let's move on to which team is going to have the most drivers in the top 5 at the end of each stage. Again, this is going to sound kind of nuts. I have very similar picks through my 3 stages as well. If you watch enough NASCAR, you just kind of know what to expect out of specific teams, and there are teams that generally don't appear up in the top 5. There are teams that sometimes appear in the top 5, and there are teams that always appear in the top 5. So, stage 1, Hendrick Motorsports is going to have more cars in the top 5 than any other team. Hendrick Motorsports. Stage 2, I'm going to give to JGR, Joe Gibbs Racing. Those Toyotas are going to have more cars in the top 5 than any other team. Again, this could be 2 cars, so it doesn't necessarily go against my prediction that Ford will have more cars in the top 10 during stage 2, but I think the Toyotas are going to have the majority of the top 5. Again, that could just be 2 cars. It's not that impressive. On to stage 3, I'm going back to Hendrick Motorsports and the Chevrolets of Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick is undeniably successful at almost every single race. The field at Hendrick Motorsports this year, including Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Bowman, Alex Bowman, like they have an amazing squad set up. They always look really, really good. They always run aggressively in the top 10. I think Hendrick Motorsports is going to take 2 out of 3 stages with more cars in the top 5. Joe Gibbs Racing will be the exception in the second stage. Where do I think that the pole sitter is going to finish this race? Because the pole sitter doesn't always win. Just because you start the race first doesn't mean you end the race first. It does happen sometimes, but I don't think that is going to be the case. Let's talk about where I think Joey Logano is going to finish the Daytona 500. The options being, will he win the race? I already said no, I don't think he's going to win the race. I don't think Joey Logano is winning the Daytona 500. Will he finish in the top 5? Will he finish in the top 10? Will he finish in the top 20? Or will he not finish at all? Will he wreck and not be able to finish the race, get a DNF, if you will? My pick, I'm going with DNF. If Logano doesn't have a really good race altogether, he generally ends up in the I crashed late in the race phase of the game. So I'm going to go with late race caution. We're going to lose Joey Logano, and he is going to not finish this race. That's my prediction on where the pole sitter will end up after, by the end of the race. On to the next one. How many cautions will we see? The most cautions in Daytona 500's history came in 2011 with 16 total cautions and 28 and a half lead changes in that process. I'm going to go with 11 cautions. Weather obviously plays a factor. I don't know what the forecast looks like in Daytona tomorrow, but I do know that the last handful of years they have been playing beat the clock with some sort of rain in Daytona. So I'm going to go with at least 11 cautions. I'm going with 11 cautions. It's going to be my guess. And at least one of those cautions is going to send us into NASCAR overtime, meaning the green white checker rule. Green white checker, for those of you who don't watch NASCAR, means you get one lap under green flag. The next time you hit the start finish line, the white flag will come out, meaning one lap to go. Any flag that comes out after the white flag, meaning if there's a caution that comes out, that will end the race, and the field will freeze essentially in the positions that they currently are at the time of the caution. So you get a green flag lap, a white flag lap, meaning one to go, and then you hit the checkered right there at the end. So I'm going to say 11 cautions and at least one NASCAR overtime. On to which driver do I think will have the most positions gained throughout the race? Okay. My driver choice for the most positions gained throughout the race is going to go to old reliable Martin Truex Jr. in that 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's starting down, if I'm correct, he's down in 27th is where he's slated on the Fox Sports starting board. So it's a lot of positions in front of him. I think Martin Truex, while he's been debating retirement over the last couple of years, he's going to show up and show out as he always does at the 500. I think he's going to gain the most positions throughout this race, going to Martin Truex Jr. for that. On the flip side, the next question, who do I think is going to lose the most positions throughout this race? I'm going to go with my dad's driver, actually. I'm going to go with Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric starts in the 6th position. He has won a Daytona 500. I think that one was 2 years ago. So Stenhouse was probably last year. But I don't think he hasn't really looked good outside of that. So I'm going to go with Austin Cindric is going to lose the most positions. He's going to finish probably in the bottom 30, like 30th and below. Cindric has just been inconsistent for Penske Racing, which is ironic when his one of his teammates in why am my brain is slipping today. That is for sure. Ryan Blaney. Wow. Woo! Ryan Blaney won the championship last year. So Ryan Blaney has a championship for Penske Racing. Austin Cindric is going to obviously want to double into that success, but he just hasn't shown any consistency on the racetrack. He's really good kind of in the road courses as he was in the Xfinity Series, but I think that he is not going to hold up during the Daytona 500. He's going to lose the most positions in the Daytona 500. That's going to wrap the regular questions. These questions are going to be questions that I ask every single week. So if you guys want to join me in making predictions for each and every race of the NASCAR season, the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season, the questions will always be, who is going to win the race? Give me your pick, okay? Who is going to win each race? Okay, so generally probably the day before on a Saturday, I'm going to post these videos. You can drop a comment on who is going to win the race in your opinion. I will always do my pick, and I will always do a Wheel of Truth pick, okay? Question number 2, which car manufacturer will have the most cars inside the top 10 after each stage? Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3. Question number 3, which team will have the most cars in the top 5 after each stage? Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3. Where will the pole sitter finish the race? Okay, so the person who starts first, where's that person finishing the race? Are they going to win it? Are they going to finish in the top 5, the top 10, the top 20? Or are they not going to finish at all? How many cautions will there be throughout the race? How many yellow flags are we going to see throughout the race? Stoppages in the race. How many cautions will we see throughout the race? And then how many or who will gain the most positions and who will lose the most positions. Those are going to be the standard questions that I'm going to ask every single NASCAR predictions video. Now, let's get to the big question. The big question is going to be who's the long shot, right? Who is going to win the NASCAR Cup Series Championship in 2024? Okay. I'm going to do this the exact same way I picked winners. I'm going to give you my personal pick for who is going to win the Cup Series Championship this season. And then I'm going to do a Wheel of Truth to determine who the universe, if you will, thinks is going to win the Cup Series Championship in 2024. Here we go. My pick. Here we go. Sorry, I don't have a drum, so this is the best I can do. My pick is Kyle Busch in the Richard Childress Racing 8 car. Kyle is overdue for a big year. He's been looking really good since his transition to Richard Childress Racing. There was talks of moving him into the 3 car and moving Austin Dillon to the 8 car. It did not occur during the offseason. I think that Kyle Busch is determined to not fall off and he's not ready to retire yet. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a Daytona 500 because I heard that he had said something along the lines of it took Dale 20 years to win a Daytona 500, and this is Kyle Busch's 20th Daytona 500. So he is motivated and ready to go. I think Kyle Busch is just going to have an absolutely stellar year for RCR and is going to win a Cup Series championship, bringing a championship back to Richard Childress Racing. Now, let's go back to the Wheel of Truth. The Wheel of Truth is going to tell us right now who is going to win the Cup Series Championship. Let's spin. All right. It has spoken. I actually don't love that pick at all, but we're going to go with it. Chase Elliott is the Wheel of Truth's choice for who will win the Cup Series Championship this year. I picked Kyle Busch. The universe picked Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's always a really reliable choice. If you watch NASCAR at all, you know that Chase is a massive winner most of the time. Running in Hendrick Motorsports, he always looks really good. The son of Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott is an all-time NASCAR legend, and I look forward to seeing how he does every year. I generally cheer against him, but I do have family that cheers for Chase Elliott. So let's see how that goes. It's actually kind of a lot of coincidences in these picks this year anyway. So, I mean, Tyler Reddick was my pick to win the Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was the universe's pick. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is my wife's favorite driver. My dad's favorite driver, Austin Cindric, is who I chose to pick the least, or to lose the most positions throughout the race. And then championship pick, I picked Kyle Busch. My brother's wife, Megan, is a Kyle Busch fan, or was a Kyle Busch fan. I don't know how much she watches NASCAR anymore. But also, Chase Elliott is my Uncle Rick's favorite driver as well. So tons of family, tons of shout outs. Hope all of you guys enjoy watching the Daytona 500 tomorrow. This has been the fastest podcast in motorsports. Now, that's hilarious because this has been 20 minutes, but I think it's a catchy name, so I'm going to run with it for right now. The fastest podcast in motorsports. My name is John. This is Introverse Uncharted, and thank you guys so very much for tuning in today to the very first NASCAR picks. Next week it will be faster. This was kind of introducing it and getting the questions lined up. Next week we're going to be able to just hit these questions and get right into the next race. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I hope you guys love watching the Daytona 500, and I can't wait to see your guys' comments below on who you guys think is going to win the race, who you guys think is going to finish where, who you guys think are going to win the championship this season. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, and remember to do more than simply exist, and come with me to the Daytona 500. See you guys later.